Joy. Thank you guys so much. I'm really excited to be back here, and I'm particularly excited about this program, this Marketing Mania. It is a lot of information, but what I love so much about marketing, and if you know anything about me, I tend to teach marketing and business and workflow, anything but photography. And the reason why I like to teach the business side of things for two reasons. One, naturally as creatives, this is not our strong suit. It's actually a completely different side of the brain. So as artists, we're usually pretty left-brained, and we're on that side of things. When it comes to business, marketing, math, it's the other side, and it might be the reverse, right side or left side, but you get the idea. The other reason that I really like teaching marketing is because it's like math. It's the same in every language. So marketing is the same no matter what genre of photography you are in, no matter if you decided to go from photography to some other type of business, it's universal. You can take the concepts that I'm going to teach you and apply them to weddings, to portraiture, to landscapes, or go outside of the photography world and apply them out there too. So I really like teaching marketing for that reason. And marketing these days is just a necessity. It is a saturated market, whether you're in photography or some other industry completely. It is very saturated, and amazing photographers are not putting food on their tables because they don't know how to market. So it is imperative that you get yourself out there. Some of the best, most successful, monetarily successful photographers in the world are not the best photographers per se. They're the ones that know how to market themselves. Wow, that's loud. So what we're going to talk about are effective ways that you can market to your clients. There are 20 ideas here to boost your brand, and my goal for you today is not for you to go home with 20 new ideas. If you get 20 new ideas out of this, I'm going to be shocked, because there are some in there that are going to apply to some people and others that you've either already done or you don't like or whatever. But I want you to be able to go home with 5, 6, maybe even 2 or 3 ideas that you can go home and actually implement in your business, because there's no point in learning without some action behind it, right? You actually have to go home and do that. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about here will help with your workflow as well. There's a lot of crossover there. It's also mostly wedding based because I am a wedding photographer, but again, this is going to apply to everyone. So go take whatever it is that I say and apply it to your type of photography business. So this is the question. How are you going to find your next bride or client? Again, there's where you can switch over there. Whenever I am at a wedding, this is one of the questions that are on my mind. How am I going to find my next bride? The wedding climate is constantly changing, and we constantly have to adapt. The marketing climate, constantly changing. We constantly have to adapt, to the point of it being just a little bit frustrating in some ways too. We talk about things that we're going to do for marketing and boosting your brand. A lot of times what we do to boost our brand, to get that brand recognition, is not necessarily going to bring us dollars in return. Does that make sense? So sometimes you look at Nike, the Nike swoosh, for example, they have this Nike swoosh posted all over this city. But just because they have a billboard where they're posting the swoosh doesn't mean that they're getting money from that swoosh being on the billboard. It's brand recognition. It's building trust. So a lot of what I do today is going to be brand recognition, not necessarily exactly ROI, where you can measure the numbers and look at the math back and forth. But you will be able to tell the difference, and I'll point them out to you. What's more brand recognition, building credibility, building trust, as opposed to something that you should absolutely see a tangible return on investment on, because we want to be able to measure that kind of stuff. I want to just really quickly address finding time to do this. By a show of hands, how many people just have all the time in the world to do marketing? Yeah, no one, right? So finding time can be something that's a huge hurdle for us because we are business owners, most of us, or we're freelancing, and we have to do everything. When we own a business, we're just the jack of all trades, and we need to learn everything from photography to accounting. I hate accounting. So I just want to talk a little bit about how to find the time to do this, because once you have these things implemented into your business, you're going to find yourself with a lot more time to do things that are going to make your business more profitable. The first thing I always talk about is outsourcing. So find what you can outsource, and there's a few things you can outsource in your business. One of them is something you're not good at. Me, it's album design. I'd like to be good at album design. I'm simply not. So I outsource that to a graphic designer. Outsource anything that you absolutely hate doing. We did not get into photography to do things that we hate doing. For me, I hate being in Lightroom editing 1,000 pictures from a wedding the weekend before. I like to edit my favorites, and I do, but I don't like to sit there and do everything. So I outsource my post-production editing to a company called Evolve Edits. If you want to find them, they're evolveedits.com. They're actually very, very cheap. You pay a monthly $199 fee, and you get all of your editing covered. So I pay roughly a whopping $50 per job for them to edit everything for me. So outsource and streamline tasks. Basically, if you're thinking about outsourcing, outsource anything that you're wasting your time doing that you could pay someone $10 an hour to do. All right? You as business owners should be doing work that adds up to $1,000 an hour work, not $10 an hour work. So running to Staples, mailing things. For me, I have an assistant that opens up boxes for me, because why am I opening up boxes? You can open up boxes, check an album, and ship it out and make sure it's good. So make sure that whatever you're doing for your business, it's going to be something that is going to bring you $1,000 an hour work, like going out to eat with a wedding planner, doing some marketing, maybe some community service, implementing any one of these 20 ideas, things that are going to actually boost your brand and help your business. Streamline your tasks. So this is just workflow. Everyone's going to have their own workflow. Everyone is going to have what works for them, but find ways to streamline your tasks. For me, one of the greatest tools I have in my office is a program called Text Expander. It is actually free. If you look up Text Expander on Google, it'll come up. It's a company called Smile Software, I believe. But what you do is you have an email template, let's just say, when you get an inquiry and you're available for it, and then you send them your spiel, right, back via email. I'm available, here's my rates, I'd love to talk to you, whatever it is. So when I get one of those emails in, all I have to do is hit reply, and I type in capital I, capital A for inquiry available, and it pops in without me having to copy or paste anything right into the email. If I get an inquiry that comes in and I'm not available, I type in all caps, too bad, and it pops in the, I'm so sorry I'm not available for your wedding, here's who I recommend. He's a wonderful photographer, and hopefully they'll be available. When I follow up with my brides, I need to follow up, so I write them back. They haven't gotten back to me. I just type in capital F, capital U, and it follow up. And it follows up with them with the email template that I have for that. So things like that, the little things that are going to help streamline your business, that make those mundane tasks that you do have to do a little bit faster, will be helpful. And then I put outsource here one more time, because there's sometimes other things that you can outsource. I quickly discovered that outsourcing my cleaning, my house cleaning and my laundry, was a fabulous use of the concept of outsourcing. So these things will help you just find time. Just think about the math of it. What are the things that you are doing that you could be paying someone $7 an hour to do, as opposed to you taking the time to do it yourself and losing time on doing things that are more valuable for your business? So just in a nutshell, these are the things that I personally outsource. So I outsource my color correcting, my album design, my printing, Facebook posting, blogging, sending my client gifts, making slideshows. This section here, from Facebook posting to slideshows, I have an assistant that comes in once a week, $12 an hour, that does all that stuff for me. Color correcting, like I mentioned, I send that out to a company called Evolve Edits. Album design, I do have a girl that comes in, again, $12 an hour, and she does all my graphic design for me. Printing, I use these guys, Black River Imaging, and I print everything from thank you cards to luggage tags. I do some of my albums there, folios. You can order right online, really, really simple. How many of you guys print in studio? A few of you do. To tell you the truth, I learned on film, if I could have my own darkroom, I would probably print in studio because I just love the smell of fixer. It's an addiction, I admit it. But for now, I'm sending everything out to Black River Imaging. If you still can't find the time, Dave Ramsey, and I do recommend this book, EntreLeadership. It is a fantastic book just when it comes to running a business. This is, I believe he calls this like the time, I don't know, time quadrant or whatever. But what it is breaking up things that you do in your day so that you can see what's important and what's urgent, or what's not important and not urgent. So this is highlighted here because these are the things that we tend to not do for ourselves: exercise, vacation, take a day off. Anyone here have a day off this week? No, me neither. Good. Okay, we all need to work on this section here. This one, the stuff that's not urgent. It's not urgent because it's not going to catch up with you right away, but it is going to catch up with you in the long run and make a huge, huge difference. So yeah, check out that book. It is a fantastic book and helps with time management. I do have a ton of freebies and promos for you guys. I always like to give freebies and promos. Some of the sponsors that I work with, all you have to do is just go to vanessajoy.com/SDE. And what you're actually getting here, because I'm not talking about the process today, is how I do my same-day edits. I do same-day slideshows and same-day albums the night of the wedding. And it starts my whole workflow. I actually also get my blog done, Animoto slideshow, online gallery, Facebook posting and tagging, all my second shooters, photos acquired all the night of the wedding, and not when I get home at the reception. This is all done. It's a really cool process, so if you just go here, it also gives you the checklist of how I do that. So it's just another extra freebie for you guys. All right, so this is, I really love this quote. This is from a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. Again, a wonderful book. I'll probably mention it a few times today. I really highly recommend everyone read this book. It's a very practical way to look at social media marketing for any business. But what got me about this quote here I thought was so funny is he wrote this book, the Jab, 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 Right Hook book, and at the end of it, right before he sends it to print, something changed in Instagram. They got video in Instagram. And it was such a revolution for him to have to go back right before he's sending this book to print and write this whole part about Instagram and video and how to use it. And it just went to show how fast marketing is changing, how fast our culture is changing, how fast technology is changing. And he could have easily been very annoyed by this. I mean, wouldn't you be annoyed? You finished a book, it's ready to go to printing, and then you have to go add something else because Instagram decided to add 8-second videos or whatever they were to begin with. So he said, I have bad news. Marketing is hard and it keeps getting harder, but there's no time to mourn the past or to feel sorry for ourselves. There's no point in self-pity anyway. It is our job as modern-day storytellers to adjust to the realities of the marketplace, because it sure as heck isn't going to slow down for us. So I thought that was very, very relevant, especially since he used the word storytellers. He was not talking to photographers or videographers. He was talking to just business owners as a whole. And I don't know about you, but every time I feel like I get a grasp on something when it comes to marketing or social media, something changes, right? Or there's a new social media, something coming out, something else I have to go snag up Vanessa Joy for, and that username, because there's this girl who's a singer who's also Vanessa Joy, and she tries to get to me first every time on those social media networks. But it's a fast world, and we absolutely have to keep up with it. Even when it comes to what I'm going to teach you today, I wrote this 3 months ago, and I've already tweaked it like 100 times because things just change. So, without further ado, we are going to get into the 20 different ideas for boosting your brand. 20 ideas is really good because there's a lot going on. The whole spray and pray concept when it comes to photographers and photography, I do not agree with. However, when it comes to marketing, there's definitely a relevant factor there. About a year and a half ago, I would say 80% of my inquiries were from previous clients, and 80% of my bookings were as well. Still today, 80% of my bookings, probably maybe 70% of my bookings are previous clients still. However, it's only about 40% of my previous clients are where my lead sources are from. Now I'm getting inquiries from other vendors, from Google, from Facebook, from Instagram. So they're coming in from all different areas now. And I found the need to participate in all these different areas so much greater because people are simply coming from the woodwork. They're coming from everywhere. You have to be able to catch them at the right moment in the right time. And a lot of times the way to do that is to spray and pray marketing with intent though, not just total, marketing vomit everywhere. So the first one we're going to talk about is vendor networking. So my first 2 weddings that I ever booked with my own business, one came from a photographer and one came from a DJ. So vendor networking is powerful, especially if you're just starting out and you're just trying to go from portraiture to weddings or back and forth. Vendor networking can be absolutely huge. So find places to meet these people and to start relationships. So an easy one, photo/wedding groups, there are a lot of them. And if you guys are in the city, you just have the pick of the litter. There are a lot of photography and wedding groups around here. There's a ton of local photography groups. So things like Better Together Facebook groups that are on Facebook. If you're not familiar with them, Better Together, just search Better Together New York, Better Together New Jersey, Better Together Colorado, whatever it is, there's a group for there. There's also ones that are just Facebook photographers or advanced wedding photographers, whatever. There's a gazillion Facebook groups for photography, and you can jump into pretty much any one of them with care, because some tend to be a little bit negative, but jump into any one of them and start building relationships. And then they'll also end up meeting a lot of times as well. They'll end up meeting in person so you can actually see people. There are a lot of industry mixers too. So, for example, the Wedding Salon is a bridal show that's based here in New York, and they host industry mixers where you just get together with a bunch of other wedding professionals the night of, so DJs, florists, wedding planners, and you go and you socialize and you hopefully meet some people that you can start a business relationship with. They're fantastic ways to get to meet people. And then I don't have to tell you this because you're already here. Educational events. You can all talk to each other here, guys. You don't have to keep that rule where you sit at least one seat away from each other. You can all get together and talk and meet people here as well. So find places to meet people and start relationships. I don't know about you, but I felt the tension get a little bit rough in here because, again, what are we? We're behind the camera type people. At least I am. I tend to be a little bit shy. So the going out, being outgoing and meeting other people does not exactly play to my comfort zone. Are some of you guys here extroverts? Most of you guys are introverts. Yeah, you're an extrovert? That's both. Fantastic. So just a little something here about making friends and getting over that comfort level and that kind of thing and how to do that. This helped me a lot. This is a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Most of you have probably heard about this book. It is a very popular book by Dale Carnegie. It was written quite some time ago. I do recommend listening to this book. It is a good book to audiobook. I mean, you can read it too, but it's not one that you would necessarily highlight to death and write a bunch of action items from. So I found that audio was a really good way to go through this book. In a nutshell, how to make friends, how to do it. Number 1, stop talking. One of the things that it talks about is simply don't talk all the time, or at least don't talk about yourself. You talk about the person in front of you. So when I meet someone for the first time, I usually go through a series of questions that help me get to know them better. Where are you from? How are you in photography? What got you started here? What are your passions when it comes to photography? What are the things that you struggle with when it comes to photography? Because people like to talk about who? Themselves, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We all like to talk about themselves. When it comes to photography, we're all pretty proud of what we do a lot of times. But we need to make sure that we take the initiative to stop talking and to start listening. A lot of times people will engage in a conversation with somebody that they just met and they'll think it's the best conversation that they've ever had in their life simply because they got to talk the whole time or most of the time. So take that into consideration. So again, these are basically just going through what this book says. Smile is a good one. Just smile. And this is kind of funny. My husband, who's a wedding cinematographer, so he does the video end of things, I had to teach him this one when we started working together at weddings. Weddings are happy occasions, yes, most of the time. When we started working together, he would be very intense. He's a very focused person. He's actually a little bit of an extrovert, so I wouldn't say that was a problem, but whenever he had the camera in front of him, he was just zoned in. He was zoned in front of this camera to the point where he would look so mad and so agitated on the day of a wedding that my second shooters were scared of him even. So I had to tell him, like, Rob, you have to smile. You just have to smile, and I know you're concentrating, and I know what we're doing is difficult, but you just have to put a smile on your face. And finally, the last thing that this book talks about is how to serve. So you're busy, you're getting to know somebody, you're finding out about them, all about them, what they do, what makes them tick. Now take it to one more step and find out how you can serve them. I'm going to butcher the quote a little bit from this book because I don't have it memorized, but it basically says, or Dale basically says, that you can gain more for your business by spending 2 hours investing in someone else than 2 years investing in yourself. So there's a lot to be said about what comes back to you when you invest in other people rather than concentrating on only investing in yourself. And that's not to say we should all be selfishly serving other people. That doesn't quite work either. The universe has a way of detecting that and making sure that just falls apart. But finding ways where you can serve other people. So when it comes to vendor networking, for example, I like to talk to the florists after the wedding. And I just tell them that I loved working with them and I wanted to create for them double-sided card with both of our logos and both of our work on it from the wedding that we just shot together. So my graphic designer puts together a nice little card, little 5x5 card, and there's pictures of all the florist's work, obviously my photos, and both of our logos and contact information, and I send it to them for free and they give it out to their clients that come in. So find ways that you can serve other people, and we're pretty lucky. Photography is something that everyone needs when it comes to the wedding vendors. Every wedding vendor wants photos of their work or them working. Even musicians, they want photos as well as video. So that is vendor networking. Number 2, Facebook. Oh man. Oh, Facebook. Facebook and I have a love-hate relationship. Facebook is just one of those single platforms that every time I think I got it going, they change something. I don't care if they change where the home button is or they change the entire way that it reads algorithms and your stuff shows up in other people's news feeds, but Facebook just likes to change things. A lot of people think that Facebook is going downhill right now. However, statistically, Facebook, or Windows, browser windows, when they're opened up on a desktop computer, 1 out of every 5 windows that are opened are to Facebook. That is huge. All right. So what does that come to? 20%, right? Not that side of the brain. I'm the other one too. So 20%, anytime somebody opens up their browser window, 20% of the time it's going to be to go to Facebook. So it is still a very relevant place for us to concentrate our marketing efforts, especially since that we are visual people and Facebook still is a very visual medium. But we want to make sure that we are using it effectively and correctly. So when it comes to Facebook marketing, this is what I do. I have this sort of hit them 5 times method. So the first time that I target my clients, I would say. This is the night of the wedding. The night of the wedding, because of that same day edit process I told you about, there are pictures up there, much like that one there, the night of the wedding, and my clients are tagged during the reception. A lot of people ask me, well, do they have a problem with this? Do they want to see their pictures first? I've only ever had one client, and I tell them beforehand that I do this so that I anticipate any problems. I've only had one client say, hey, could you not post any pictures on Facebook till we see them? No problem. One client in the past 6 years, not really hurting my workflow there. So the first time that I go on Facebook with my clients' photos is the night of the wedding. The week after the wedding, I create an Animoto slideshow, and I have my clients post that slideshow on Facebook for me. I email them the link to it, and then they post it on Facebook. The reason I have them post it on Facebook is because more of their friends and family on Facebook will see it if they post it rather than if I post it and tag them in it. The week after their wedding, I'm also creating this timeline banner for them. The style has evolved a little bit, but now I put their names and wedding date on it, so that's available for them the week after the wedding. I also do that for the engagement session as well. About 3 to 4 weeks after the wedding, I have a blog post up on my blog for them, and I email the clients and tell them, hey, your blog post is up, share it online, spread your wedding fame. I will also post it on my end and tag them in it. And then finally, I put a happy anniversary post on there. All right, happy anniversary post. Facebook lets you schedule your posts up to 6 months in advance, so take advantage of that. 6 months beforehand, my assistant will go on and she'll post a bunch of happy anniversaries for the date of their upcoming 1-year anniversary. The only problem I have ever run into with this is if they're not married 1 year afterwards. It happens. I'm not harping on anyone who's not still married 1 year after the wedding, just letting you know to be sensitive and does not hurt to make sure. So that's my strategy there. I do use an auto posting service, and I'm going to get into that later when it comes to how I schedule and post my Facebook status there. The other thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you interact with other people. It's very, very easy for us to have a whole scheduling thing on Facebook where we're just posting about ourselves and bragging about our business or posting our best work and that kind of thing. And there's a place for that, obviously. But you want to make sure that you interact with other people as well. So, for example, this right here is something I posted on Facebook and Instagram. And what it says is, well, I know what I can do for me today, but is there anything that I can do for you? Just name it. And I got a ton of responses. It was great for social media. So you could do something like this, something that encourages interacting with other people. Yes, that's my photo on there, so I am showing my photo, but the main purpose of the post was to encourage interaction with others there. When you are posting, be aware of the time of day that you are posting. If you are a photographer that works with babies, children, families, your primary target audience is usually a mom. When does mom have time to go on Facebook? Really early in the morning and really late at night when the kids are sleeping. So if you want to post something and you want to get those moms to see it, make sure you are posting early in the morning or late at night. For me, I am looking for brides who are planning their wedding. And when do most brides plan their wedding? On their lunch break. So you'll notice if you go on my Facebook that most of my posting is done between 12 and 1:45. So make sure that you're considering the time of day that you are posting. You want to vary your text, link, and photo posts. So what this means, Facebook has this algorithm built into the newsfeed so that when you are looking at your newsfeed, you're not getting all pictures, you're not getting all outbound links, or you're not getting all just text-only status updates. They want to vary what you're seeing. So on the same end, on your end, you need to vary posting things that are just text, maybe a quote from a favorite author, post things that are just links, link out to your blog, or post just photos. And you want to vary that up so that you can be seen in people's news feeds. Again, make sure that you're interacting with others, and you can take this a step further. You can interact in those Facebook groups. You can interact in bride Facebook groups, wedding Facebook groups. Find places that you can interact with other people. So people always ask me the business versus personal when it comes to Facebook. How many of you guys, just by raising your hand, have both a business page and a personal page? Okay. How many of you guys actually have a separate life personal and a separate life business? In real life, I'm talking about. Very few of us. I'm not in there either. I tend to mush everything all together. So definitely find what works for you. Do you want to separate your business and personal life? Do you want to friend your brides on Facebook? The only thing I will say about that is you cannot tag your brides in their pictures on Facebook unless you are friends with them. Very annoying. Some people have two personal business or personal Facebook accounts, one where they friend their brides, one where they don't. You have to figure out what works for you. This is the book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, that I was telling you about. What is nice is they talk about when to know to boost your posts. So you guys are familiar with the fact that you can now pay to boost your post and get more, in people's news feeds. This annoys people because, hey, why am I paying for something that was free? However, think about it the other way around. The way this book talks about it is Facebook is letting you post something, test that post, see if it has any legs, see if it'll run, it'll be popular, it'll get interaction naturally, and then if it does, then decide to boost it with some money behind it. So it's kind of nice. It's actually letting you experiment with what works and then decide to throw money at it, rather than just posting something and having no idea if people are going to like it or not and throwing money at something that might not work. You're able to look and see, hey, this post, and Facebook tells you, hey, this post is getting 90% more interaction than the rest of your posts. Maybe you should boost this one. So it's nice. Think about it that way instead of how annoying it is to pay for something you used to not have to pay for. Think of it as more of a marketing experiment instead. Number 3, Pinterest. Oh, Pinterest. So whether you are a wedding photographer, whether you are a family photographer, pretty much what is going on here is that your target audience is going to be women. A lot of times women are the ones making the decisions in the household, and women are the ones that you're targeting. I believe it is 68% of users on Pinterest are women. So for the most part, all of our clients are here. People pin pretty things for ideas and inspiration. So 50 pictures of the bride and groom, this isn't the place for it. Maybe that's the place for it is on your blog, but here people are looking for ideas and inspiration. If you're thinking weddings, they're looking for different flower arrangements, different centerpieces, different hairstyles, all sorts of different things that can give them ideas and inspire them either now or later. You want to make sure that whenever you are posting on Pinterest, you need to link back to your website or blog, or it is all for naught. If they see it and they don't know where it came from, they don't know where to find you, all that work you did is for nothing. So make sure that you are linking back to your website or your blog. You can have a call to action. So for example, I don't think I have it on here, but I have one that says, do you want wedding tips from a girl who's been to hundreds of weddings? And it says, click here if you do, and that's a call to action. They click there and they get to sign up for my bride newsletter, where every 3 weeks I send them a new tip on planning a wedding. So you can have a call to action that encourages them to click on your picture and to find you. You can get your clients involved in this, and one of the ways that I get my clients involved in Pinterest, or I have 2 ways. One of the ways that I get them involved is when I'm doing their engagement session, I tell them, hey, here's a link to my engagement session FAQs list, and here's a link to, do I have it here? Yeah, engagement session outfit ideas. So I get them going on there, say, hey, here's where you can find some inspiration. They go on there and they pin it to their boards and start sharing things around. Another way that I like to get clients involved is I ask them to go to my blog or to my Pinterest account, and I tell them, create a Vanessa Joy Photography board on your Pinterest account and just start pinning what work of mine is your favorite. What is it about my work that made you hire me, that made you fall in love with it, that made you realize that that is how you want your wedding to be captured? This serves two purposes. One, yes, they're pinning my stuff, they're sharing my stuff, but two, I get to see my work through the eyes of my client, and it will help me do a better job for them. Plus, they like it. Brides like little projects like that on Pinterest. All right, number 4, read a book. This tends, again, to not be one of our strong suits as photographers. I count audiobooks as reading, by the way. So if you have a commute, whether it's to a wedding or to your day job every day, think about listening to a book. It counts as reading. I've already talked about a few of my favorite books, but here are some more. And this is one of my favorite quotes, and a lot of people have actually said this. I think I first heard it from Dave Ramsey. But he said, "You will be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read." So we can handle one of those things all by our lonesomes pretty well. These are all books that I have read and I thoroughly recommend. Sometimes it can be hard to figure out what books are good, what ones are going to be worth your time. There's that Jab, 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 Right Hook one right there. Gary also wrote another one called The Thank You Economy, which I have not read. Another one called Crush It, which I've read, and that one was good. So just pick up a book. Because what's happening here today, and you've noticed it because I've been quoting a lot of different books and a lot of different people, I'm a business book nerd. I read business books all the time. I take the information that they give me, I trial and error it and apply it to my business. I figure out what works, and then I sit here and tell all of you guys about it, and I figure out what works. So I'm kind of doing that work for you, which is great. At the same time, if you guys read that book first, you'd be implementing those ideas before me or before your competition, ahead of everyone else, or maybe even interpreting them a little bit differently, coming up with different ideas that works for you and your business, and maybe doing it better than I would. So you get those ideas first. You get to be the first photographer who reads these things and interprets these things. So definitely pick up a book or two. Number 5. Guest posting. And a lot of times this takes a little bit of an explanation to sort of talk about what this is about. So what guest posting is, basically blog based for the most part, and it's someone who is posting on someone else's blog that they do not own. So for example, wedding vendor blogs. Wedding vendor blogs like Style Me Pretty, that would be considered a wedding vendor blog, or maybe just your local florist blog. You can write a post for them, or they can write a post for you to post on their blog. So this is from my blog, and I just wrote guest post. It says tips for choosing your wedding colors, and it's by this girl called Christy Charter. And what we just did is collaborated. She wrote this post for me. I published it on my blog, supported it with my pictures. We did some cross promotion for it and got a bunch of views and hits on the blog. When you're using guest posting and you're writing it yourself, make sure that it's informational and it's full of your own photos. Obviously, that's probably a no-brainer. And it has link backs and keywords and phrases that help search engine optimization. So, for example, this one, tips to choosing your wedding colors. If you go there and read it, you'll see things like phrases like fall wedding colors, spring wedding colors, summer wedding colors, because what do brides Google? Fall wedding colors, spring wedding colors. So you want to have those types of phrases in there. And you want to vary them as well. You know, we're talking about flowers, so we would write, you know, pink wedding flowers or peonies wedding flowers or something along those lines. So guest posting is great for building relationships, and it helps you incorporate social media as well. So once the post happens, you guys can cross promote on social media. This person wrote this blog post here. Come to my blog post for trying to choose your wedding colors, etc., etc. So if you're not a huge writer, maybe this is not for you. Maybe you don't like writing, but you could maybe talk to a florist and exchange them using your photos on their website for them to write a blog post like this for your blog. So find ways to make this work for you. This is, I mean, you could take this 100 different ways. You could do a million different blog posts on, you know, family sessions, and don't even think it has to do with photography. So if you're a family photographer, maybe you're just writing a post on how to stick to a morning routine with your family before you send the kids to school. things that would interest those moms, those people you're trying to reach. Number 6 is same day edits. So same day edits, this is my bread and butter right here. This is where I get most of my business from. Again, remember I said about 80, 70, 80% of my bookings right now are from previous clients. It's because of this process that I have right here. I'm not going to go through the entire thing for you, but I'm going to give you a little sneak at what I do. So my whole concept is I think that there's nothing better that you can do for your business than to do your best work and let everyone see it. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody is there to hear it, did it actually fall? If a photographer takes a picture and no one actually sees it, did you take the picture? You get the concept? You can do your best work, but if no one sees it, it's not going to help you very much. So these are some pictures of the same day edit that I do at every wedding for the most part. I have this little digital picture frame here so people can see the photos, and I give them a same day album, which is what this bride is holding here. So traditionally, a same day edit is what? You've probably seen this, you've heard of it. It's that photo slideshow shown at the reception with a handful of pictures throughout the day. That's fantastic. Start there. If you want to stay there, you'll probably get business from there. For me, I do have an assistant, by the way, that helps me with this. And again, I think I have that link that'll come up so you can get the whole checklist on how to do this. But for me, I do that slideshow. I create a same day album. My photos are all uploaded to Facebook and tagged. I have an online gallery created for my clients, an Animoto slideshow created. My blog post is 95% finished. My photos are ready to be submitted for publication, and I have all of my second photographer's photos acquired before I leave the reception, before cake cutting even happens. So this is what I do for my same day edit process. 1, it's great for marketing. 2, it's great for workflow. How many of you guys from here down, you're doing that the week after, right? The week after the wedding, you're doing your blog post, you're making your slideshow, you're going on Facebook, you're editing your pictures, you're tagging, you're sucking away that whole week just trying to catch up on what you could have done the night of the wedding. So again, I don't have time to go through this whole thing because it is a process, but if you just go to vanessajoy.com/SDE for same day edit, that's going to give you the whole checklist and how I get this done, the type of equipment I use, the type of software I use, that kind of thing. You can also find a one-day workshop I did on it on Creative Live if you want the whole thing, but you'll probably get what you need from the checklist. So the reason why this works is because it makes an impact. And this goes for anything that you guys are doing as far as photography. Your pictures are better than they really are if they're the first everyone sees. Why? Because there's a higher emotional connection to the photograph the sooner that the client sees it. So you might think your pictures are mediocre, but the sooner you show your clients, they're going to think they're more fantastic than if you showed them their first preview of them 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 12 weeks down the road. A lot of times, speed equals quality. Don't get me wrong, I do not think that you should be, halving it when it comes to editing your photos or anything along those lines, but speed equals quality, especially in our world today. If you have a same day edit process or even a next day edit process where you have some photos up online for your clients, it teaches others to talk about you. People are going to see those photos and they're going to tell someone else about them. They're going to share them on Facebook. They're going to post about them. It is free and relevant advertising. So I do not pay anything to have my pictures on a digital picture frame. Yes, I bought the digital picture frame like 6 years ago, so I think I got my money's worth out of it at this point. But it is free and relevant advertising, and it also helps you build those vendor relationships. You can share those flower photos with the florist the night of the wedding. The makeup artist, every morning, that makeup and hair artist asks me, oh, when can I see pictures? How can I get pictures from you? And I get to look at them and say, check my Facebook tonight, they'll be on there. That's also another thing I don't have to do on Monday, so I like that. So use it to build vendor relationships as well. Another thing that I'm really, really big on is getting my pictures published, whether it's on a blog, online, or in a magazine. I think getting your pictures published is really, really important. It's not as hard as you think. please know you will get rejected. I get rejected all the time. This is just so you know. But about 70% of my work is published in a blog or a magazine because of this whole same day edit process. It adds credibility to your work, you know, a nice little ego boost for you, and that's okay. We need those little boosts that, hey, I'm doing good. My stuff's in a magazine. A few questions that I get about this. Will it kill my post-wedding sales? Some people have a whole sales process after the wedding where they want to show people the images for the first time during that sales session. Find a way to make that work for you. The way that I do that is I show them an album preview the night of the sales session. So that's the thing that is my emotional draw, something that they see for the first time when they're coming in for that sales session. Some people say that I need to retouch my pictures and I can't do it that quickly the night of the wedding. I need to spend more time on it. First of all, you don't have to do a same-day edit that has 100 pictures in it like I do. I'm a little bit overboard. You can do one that has 5 pictures in it, 10 pictures in it. Heck, print 1 picture and it's going to have an impact. So if you need to retouch photos, there is a new program out that I use because I do send my pictures through Lightroom, and there is a set of brushes essentially that you can get at Lightroom Retouching that lets you retouch your photos in Lightroom just like you would in Photoshop. So it's really quick. I send my photos through Lightroom. I'm touching up skin, under the eyes, sharpening the eyes, bringing out the catch light, smoothing hair, all sorts of stuff in Lightroom. So it's much, much faster. If you use this code JOY10, you get $10 off this program. It's already cheap. It's like 89 bucks or something like that, and so worth it. Even if you don't use this for your same day edit process, using it for your post-production process after the wedding, it's worth its weight in gold. I use it consistently. So when it comes to a same day edit, you'll notice I spent more time on this again because it is my bread and butter. It is what enabled me to go triple my prices in the first 3 years of wedding photography and triple my business at the same time. It really, 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 really works. So figure out what is stopping you, or where is a place that you can start to incorporate some sort of same day edit process into your workflow, because it really, really does work. Another thing when it comes to the same day edit that I really enjoyed, and it's, I don't know, it's a little snotty maybe of me. You can be the judge of that, I guess. But I had a woman about 6 months ago. I was at a wedding, and she was at the ceremony, and she was wearing a white dress, which I just find inappropriate. I don't think you should wear white at a wedding, or at least a full head-to-toe white dress. She's following me around, and I'm at the ceremony, and I go to the middle aisle, and she comes to the middle aisle and takes a picture. I move around to the other side discreetly, and she moves to the other side. She's literally following me around the ceremony. It's like, for pity's sake, wear black and stop following me. So, I know. That wasn't even the snotty part. So we go out after the ceremony. I'm standing next to the limo driver, and they're about to walk out, you know, do the walkout bubbles. Yay, champagne toast. And she's, lo and behold, standing next to me still. And she goes, oh, I know I'm probably bugging you, following you around and everything, but it's just that, you know, my pictures will get to be up tomorrow and they have to wait a month or 2 to see yours. And I looked at her and go, oh, honey, mine will be up there tonight. Walk away. Traumatic exit. And I did. I left her with her mouth like, and she stopped following me. So I like that. Anyway, so that's another thing, the same day edit. It's kind of nice. It's, hey, you know, I am going to be able to show you your pictures next to your guests and their crappy iPhone, iPad photos. All right, number 7, we're going to move along. The rest of these move a little bit faster. I mentioned this before, getting published. Getting published is fantastic for a lot of different reasons. Getting published is just one of those things that adds credibility to your work. Whether the client actually found you because you were published in that magazine or on that blog is irrelevant. Yes, that's nice, but it's going to add credibility when you can say that I'm in this magazine, or if you have a studio and you have these magazines lying around with your picture inside or on the cover or whatever. If you're getting published on a blog as opposed to getting published in a magazine, it's going to boost your search engine optimization. For this reason, I think getting published on blogs right now, in this current age in technology, is actually better than getting published in a magazine. It is free marketing. Simply free, that's it. You don't pay. I'm not talking about advertising, by the way. I'm talking about actually getting published. You don't pay to get published. In fact, sometimes people pay you when you get your work published in magazines or on blogs. Brides freak out. Your bride gets published and she's in a magazine. She's going to go ballistic and tell all of her friends about you and post it on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. One of the services that I use to help me get published is a service called 2brightlights. 2brightlights.com is what I use to get my work out there. It is a service that lets you upload your pictures to their website and then submit for different publications and get them published right then and there. It's all online, and if you get rejected, it's no big deal. You don't have to go mail out another CD or contact sheet to some other editor. You simply just click, okay, I want to send it to Gray Likes Weddings, or whatever, the bump, the nest, the knot. So it's a really, really easy way to help you get published. What's nice about 2brightlights as well is they work with a lot of smaller publications, which are more likely to publish you. Especially if you're just starting out, you maybe aren't too confident about your work, although that doesn't necessarily matter, because publishers are only looking for pictures of details and new ideas, new inspiration. But it's nice because there are smaller publications and you can get published on more than one publication at a time. Number 8, hold a contest. Contests are a great way to create brand recognition. This will be one of them that you might not get a return on investment directly from. It is simply for that brand recognition, to get your name out there and to get your brand in front of people, to get your photos in front of people. Whenever you are holding a contest, what you just need to figure out, first of all, is determine your goal. What is the point of this contest? Is the point of this contest to get more Facebook likes? Is the point of it to get more Instagram followers? Is the point of this to simply get your clients to start talking about you some more? What is your goal in order or for this contest? So just think about that. Think about what you want to do. Maybe you just decided to go home and start a Pinterest board, a Pinterest account, but you don't have any followers on there yet, right? You can hold a contest using the followers that you do have on Instagram and Facebook to pull them over onto Pinterest to get more followers on there. So determine where to hold your contest. So you could just hold it on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Twitter, whatever. Make sure that you are following the rules. All of these social media platforms have specific rules for contests, so just make sure you look them up. There is a place called Rafflecopter, Rafflecopter, rafflecopter.com, where it is a website that simply holds contests for you, and it integrates all different forms of social media. So if you hold a contest on Rafflecopter, you basically give people opportunities to earn points or earn entries towards that contest. If they share your contest on Twitter, they earn 1 point. If they sign up for your mailing list, they earn 1 entry. If they share it on Facebook, they earn an additional entry. And it's a really great place to hold the contest. One of the biggest things, again, as photographers, that we have as an advantage is we have something that is valuable to other people. We have photographs. Photographs are valuable to other people. So as prizes, give photo products. You don't have to make it a trip to Maui. You can simply make it, a 5x5, 10 spread album, whatever it is. You can give photo prizes, and that has value for other people. I already talked about noting rules on social media sites, so just make sure you do that. I believe Facebook recently changed them. They used to say that you couldn't hold the contest and have like the likes or shares be votes or as a way to participate, and they changed that. So now that you can, which is good. It'll help boost your presence. All right, number 9, drip campaigns. Is anyone familiar with what a drip campaign is? It's a weird phrase. Not many people are. So what a drip campaign is, and I alluded to this before, a drip campaign is based on email marketing. Email marketing is definitely going downhill right now. However, if you are using permission email marketing, basically where you have people asking for these emails, then it becomes more effective. So I think I told you about this before. This is a picture that I had on Pinterest, and it says, want wedding tips from someone who's been to hundreds of weddings. And they click here, and then what happens is they sign up for my newsletter for brides, and the drip campaign is started. And every 3 weeks, they get a new email, and it's automatic. I don't have to do anything. I pre-wrote all of these emails. So number one, they get right when they sign up. It's called the timeline. And it just talks about how to keep your bridesmaids on time for the wedding. The day, or 3 weeks later, they get another email, a pain-free wedding with sexy shoes. And it sends them to my blog post about how to not ditch your wedding kicks. 3 weeks later, they get the next one. And that's called a drip campaign, where you've pre-written these emails. You do usually need an email system for this, like MANIA or Constant Contact, or Emma, I think, is another one. I use MANIA. So you just write them and you schedule them, and then you post the sign-up link in different places via social media, or maybe email them to your existing clients. If you have an existing client base that becomes repeat clients, like families, this is really great tool for you guys to have, because it keeps those keeps you fresh in those clients' minds, so that they're able to think of you every Christmas or every birthday that they have, and they want to make sure they get pictures done. Make sure that you have a call to action in the drips. So a lot of these are just very small, like 1, 2, 3 sentence. I'm not trying to write them novels. You don't have time to write novels. They don't have time to read novels. So they're very, very small, but a lot of times there's a call to action, whether it's click my blog link here, or see what I just posted on Facebook here. It's getting them outside of the email and going to either my website, blog, Facebook, somewhere where it's going to help my visibility on those sites, getting them to interact and help my search engine optimization. So have them share things, look on your blog, comment on your blog, whatever it is. Some sort of call to action to get them out of the email and onto your site. Number 10 is bridal shows. Now, we are all in the same demographic here. I am in New Jersey, but New York, New Jersey, I feel, has the same type of bride demographic. Bridal shows are a little bit interesting for me, and I think it has to do with knowing your market. So when I first started out, and I was charging an average of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even going into $5,000 for a wedding, bridal shows were gold. I once booked 11 clients off of one $700 booth that I bought. Huge, fantastic. Now that I'm averaging closer to 8, 9, 10, 11 per wedding, I'm not getting what I got from bridal shows before. And it's just because my market is simply not going to bridal shows. My market is hiring wedding planners, or doing it for themselves, or getting referrals. So know your market and know your demographic and know where they show up. So for me, bridal shows do not necessarily work that much anymore, but maybe for you they will. Maybe your market is going to the bridal shows. Maybe you do more volume studio based, or you're just starting out and bridal shows are fantastic for you. There are some higher end wedding bridal shows. There's one called the Wedding Salon, I think I mentioned before, that's here in New York, that charges you closer to $5,000 for a booth, but totes the fact that they have high-end clients coming in. I've done them twice. I've booked one client off both of those shows. So again, I'm not recommending it. However, you may find different luck, just depending on where your demographic and where your target market is. When you are doing a bridal show, it's very important to be different and stand out. One of the first things that I did, and the first bridal show I ever did, was we created Chinese takeout boxes with a logo on them. I was working for another company at the time, and it was perfect. So we had this stack of like Chinese takeout containers behind us, and it was a perfect thing to be able to stand out and be recognized. When you're following up, make sure you're following up personally. So what I did when it came to following up the last bridal show I did it with my husband. I would send them an email that said, that husband and wife team you liked from the bridal show. So it was a little bit more personal. We didn't have a title on it that said, your wedding photography. or want me to photograph your wedding, or something that's generic that everyone else is going to be sending out from that bridal show, because there will probably be 5 to 10 other photographers at that bridal show also. So make it a little bit more personal. Follow up with them personally. Phone call might be it for you, just depends. Some brides really hate the phone call. I hate phone calls. So bridal shows can definitely be very helpful. Number 11, blogging with intent. So a lot of times when it comes to blogs, we were used to, as photographers, just putting a bunch of pretty pictures on there, right? And that works. That's what we do. That's our art. We take pictures, we show pictures. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us so much anymore when it comes to search engine optimization, which is one of the biggest reasons that we have a blog, because Google and the way that they have to have their algorithms and their little search bots finding the things that are relevant to whoever is searching for them, we have to make sure that our blogs have a continual amount of original content on there. And unfortunately, photos alone do not make up original content. You need to have a lot of text in there. And that makes me cringe. A lot of times we don't even find time to blog what we want to blog as far as photos go, but now you're telling me that I have to write 300 words as well. That's what they recommend, 300 words. It is a lot, but you can make it happen. So it's not just, here's some pretty pictures I took this weekend. You have to be a little bit more intentional about it. One way to do this is to write nicely about other vendors. So if you work with a florist, 2 or 3 sentences about how great that florist was. You work with a great makeup artist, 2 or 3 sentences about how beautiful the makeup was. So find things to write about. Another thing that I do is I make sure I list all of the vendors that I worked with, and I do this by making my bride tell me all the vendors she worked with and give me their websites on the pre-wedding questionnaire that I have them fill out. So I'm just copying and pasting. You can allow guest posts. Again, going back to those guest posts where someone else is writing that blog for you. Find out a way to collaborate that so you have some original content on there. Make sure that you're linking your blog from social media. So when a blog comes out, I will make sure that I post it on Facebook, on Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is, so that I'm pulling from my other networks to get them to come to my blog. Make sure that it's informational and creative, and a lot of this is just making sure, in a nutshell, that it's share-worthy. Is this information that other people are going to want and that other people find valuable? So if you write about other vendors, again, that's an easy way to do it. Write something nice about the florist, tell the florist you wrote something nice about her, and then hopefully she will share that blog link with her social media following as well. And then look at your stats and just see what's working. So any blog hosting site that you have should have inherently or have some sort of widget that you can add so that you can see where your traffic is going. How many people looked at this blog post? How many people looked at this one? How many shared this one? Et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you're looking at your stats to see what's working, because we don't want to waste time doing stuff that is not working, right? We don't have time for that. So make sure that you're looking at your stats actively. We should be doing that with everything, by the way. Everyone here asks clients when they walk in the door where they came from, right? Yeah. You want to just make sure, because otherwise we're just shooting in the dark. We really are spraying and praying then when it comes to marketing, so we have no idea what works otherwise. So make sure that you're looking at your stats to see what's working. Number 12, host an event. This is a fun one. So when I said host an event, I think all of you came up with a completely different idea. So feel free to share your ideas after class so that you can work with each other on that. But there are a lot of different ways that you can, a lot of different ways that you can host an event. Your event does not have to be this grand, by the way. When I say host an event, I do not mean that you have to host the biggest networking mixer there has ever been. You can host a networking mixer and just invite one florist, one wedding planner, one makeup artist, one dress store designer, whatever, and go out to coffee with all of them. That can be it. You're just the one organizing everything. And it doesn't have to be that difficult or take up that much time either. Just find a way to get people to connect. You can host some sort of photothon, whether it's for Halloween, you're doing, 100 Halloween photos that day, and find a way to do this whole photothon to be able to do that. You can hold an educational event. Maybe you're not the one teaching, but 6 or 7 photographers that would really like to learn off-camera flash, and a photographer that's pretty good at it. Get them all together, host that educational event. Anything going out to coffee. Coffee can be half an hour, 20 minutes. Find 5 photographers in your area that you can start to get to know a little bit better. Invite a new photographer, even if it's just one photographer, out to coffee with you. If you notice a new photographer in your area and they're completely undercutting everyone in the industry, invite them out to coffee. Tell them how great they are and encourage them to raise their prices. And I don't mean that completely underhandedly by any means, but when I was a new photographer, someone needed to tell me that once too. We all needed that at one point. So just host an event, host little things. You can host a fundraiser if you wanted to get into that end of things. Use your photography skills to help benefit somebody else, and I'm going to talk more about that later. But you don't have to spend a lot of money, you don't have to spend a lot of time, just get some butts in the door and get networking. Number 13, search for conversations. And this is a really, really fun one. It is one that I got from this book here called Crush It. I had mentioned this book before by Gary Vaynerchuk. He's the guy that wrote that jab, 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 right hook. So what he said is that you basically go to a social media site, like Twitter, for example, and you find relevant hashtags. So if you're a wedding photographer, you go to Twitter and you search engaged, wedding ring, wedding planning, things that your brides or your hopeful future clients are talking about. And then you go and you engage in conversation with them. Now, when I say engage in conversation, I do not mean find a bride who's planning her wedding and say, hey, need wedding photography? That's not what I mean. When you find someone that is having a conversation, something about wedding planning, maybe she just got engaged. For example, Instagram. If you look up engaged, the hashtag engaged or engagement ring on Instagram, you're going to find hundreds of brides taking a picture of that right there. And that is it. So you go there and you just say, love that ring, or where's that ring from, or what do you call that type of ring design? And you engage in this mini little conversation. And this is a brand recognition thing. It's not necessarily going to bring you a client every single time, but it will probably bring you more followers on that social media site, or it'll get a bride to go from your social media site to your website and maybe book you. So find ways that you can engage in conversation. And this is also for photography groups too, or other photographers. You can use the same exact type of marketing method to talk to other photographers and to get to know them. I always say make sure that you have set up your first impression for this. So for example, if you decided I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to find all these girls that have just got engaged and I'm going to tell them all how nice their ring looks, make sure that the first picture that you have on your Instagram at that moment in time is not of like the food you had that evening. Make sure it's of a wedding photo, all right? So set up that first impression. Make sure that the first thing that they see when they come to your social media site after that interaction is your work, as opposed to, a picture of your gym shoes because you actually made it to the gym that morning. Those things have places, by the way, for Instagram. You look on mine, it's on there. But if you're going to, with intent, do this, and please do everything with intent, make sure that first impression is set up. So you'll notice a lot of this at this point is crossing over. A lot of this is starting to intertwine. I'm talking about blogging, but then I'm also talking about how to put that on Pinterest. I'm talking about Pinterest, but then I'm talking about how to create an email campaign about that. A lot of this stuff starts to intertwine and starts to meld. And really what you just want to keep in mind is do nothing without intention. So whenever you are posting something, don't just post it to post it. Make sure you have in your head what it is that you want from this. There's a lot of windy circles, but we don't have to freak out about them because if you just take a second to think about it, everything needs to be done with intention. When someone sees this, what do I want them to do next? What do I want them to see next? It starts to make a lot of sense. You start to do things on purpose instead of just spraying and praying, right? It takes practice, and then you'll perfect it, and then it'll change. All right. Number 14, styled shoots. So a styled shoot is this right here. So if you pick up the current issue of New Jersey Bride right now, you will find these pictures of mine have a 6-page spread in New Jersey Bride magazine. I would have had to pay probably $20,000 for a 6-page spread in New Jersey Bride magazine. I got it for free because I did a styled shoot. And what a styled shoot is where you work with other vendors, or maybe even just yourself, though I do suggest working with other vendors, and we'll see why, to create a photo shoot, a mock photo shoot, a mock wedding, a mock family session, whatever it is. So for this one, I worked with a reception hall. This is Hamilton Farms Golf Club in Pottsville, I believe, New Jersey. I worked with a florist who hung all those lanterns and gave her wreath, and all the other florists. We worked with an invitation designer who gave us an invitation. We worked with a wedding planner who really helped pull all this together. Because I have no vision for that kind of thing. I can take pictures of pretty things. I cannot create the pretty things. I am not that kind of person. I love seeing it. It's beautiful. I cannot walk into a room and be like, this is what's happening here. Not at all. So I worked with a wedding planner. So that's what a styled shoot is. And what it helps you do is it helps you network with other vendors. So now that florist, that wedding planner, I just worked a wedding at that hall, that Hamilton Farms hall, 2 days ago because I did that styled shoot there and developed a relationship with them. All right, so you do a styled shoot, it helps you network with other vendors and get you jobs. What's nice, especially if you're starting out or maybe even changing the way that you are representing your brand and your style of photography, is you get to create exactly the kind of client that you want. So you end up showing what you want to attract. So if I were a photographer who loves, I don't know, tattoos and punk rock and pink hair, I am making sure that my styled shoot has that sort of edginess to it so that those clients see my work and like it. Me, this is more my style, more clean, classic, simple, but with pops of color. So that's what I want to show. So show what you want to attract. Get it published. A lot of places, blogs, wedding magazines love having styled shoots on there because it's new ideas, it's new inspiration, and that's what they want in their publications. I will say, please avoid excessive style shoots. If you love doing style shoots, fabulous, do them. Please do not put 80% of the work that is in your portfolio as styled shoots. This is going to cause a lot of problems. One, it's simply deceptive. That is not an accurate representation of your work that you're going to do for a client on the day of their wedding. Two, because it's not an accurate representation of what you can do for a client the day of the wedding, you are going to hurt yourself because you're setting the bar for expectations up here for your client when realistically you can meet about here on an actual wedding day. So I do just make sure, I say to avoid excessive style shoots. They're fun, they're great, they work. Just make sure your portfolio is more realistic for both your sake and the client's. All right, number 15, Google+. Google+ is one of those social networks that came up and I just hated it instantly. I just didn't like it. I didn't understand it. Why? It looks like Facebook. It's practically like Facebook feed with a Twitter more type medium, and I just didn't like it. Anyway, doesn't matter because Google is taking over the world, and we simply just have to accept that. Okay? Now that we've all accepted that Google is the new synonym for God in a lot of ways, we can just move on and keep going with Google+. Google+, I believe, is actually one of the top social media networks with one of the highest user base in the world. It's also because you automatically get a Google+ account when you sign up for Gmail. So you can see how they skewed those statistics. But it doesn't matter because your search engine optimization will be affected by Google+. What this means is that Google owns Google Plus, so it is rewarding the people who use their social media platform. Now, I'm pretty sure that they deny this to an extent. However, it only makes sense. So when your brides are Googling for wedding photographers, if your wedding photography on Google Plus has a lot of interaction, you're going to come up higher on the search results. This seems like a lot. This just seems like one of those other things that we have to do, but it actually doesn't have to be too bad. One of the first things that you can do on Google Plus that is going to be the easiest to do, in my opinion, easiest to do, is get client reviews on Google Plus. So on Google Plus, you are able to have people review your business. And an easy way to do this, and what I did with my clients, is I had Wedding Wire for the most part, is where I had my brides go to review me. So what I did is I emailed those brides that gave me a raving review on Wedding Wire, and I said, thank you so much for your raving review. If you could, I've recently opened up a Google Plus page for my business. If you don't mind copying and pasting your review there, it'd be so helpful for me. And I made it really easy for them. I had already copied and pasted their review, and I put it in the email I sent them, along with the link directly of where they would review me on Google Plus. So it's 2 clicks for them, 1 click and a copy and paste, and that was it. And it helped. I got a whole bunch of reviews on there, so that really helped to boost that right off the bat and to look like I actually had a presence on Google Plus. There are 2 different types of pages, very similar to how it is on Facebook. There's pages versus personal. So you can, again, set up both. It is recommended for your business that you set up a Google Plus page. This way, when people search for your business, for example, your Google Plus page, along with your ratings, business address, contact information, whatever it is, all comes up. And then engage. Again, this is another place you can engage in other conversations. This is another place you can search for conversations, meet other wedding vendors, meet brides, meet other photographers. Engage to be engaged. All right, number 16, charity work. Now, charity work is fantastic. I'm going to preface this. You should not be engaging in charity work if it is strictly for a publicity stunt, right? Charity work, you want to remain pure. Like I said before, with the whole concept of serving other people, if you're serving other people simply to self-serve yourself, this is not a good concept. But if you are really passionate about some sort of charity, then by all means, find a way to make this work for you. So this might be shooting for free for something. Maybe, I'll just take a wedding example. There's a company out there, and I don't remember the name, that organizes weddings for military people or somebody with a terminal illness or someone who's simply less fortunate that cannot afford to have a wedding on their own, and they help organize a wedding where the bride and groom don't pay a dime. So you can shoot for free for something like that. There is Help Portrait is one that's photographer based, and I believe it's just helpportrait.com, where it goes, I believe, into impoverished neighborhoods and just takes beautiful photos of the people there who probably haven't had a real photo of them in 20 years. And it's a beautiful thing that you can do for other people. Oh yeah, look at that, see, helpportrait.com, that is it. You could go above and beyond and organize a fundraiser. So there is a DJ a few towns over from me. When Sandy hit, he became the hub for Sandy victims. He was there getting everyone to drop off the different clothing items and tools that were needed, and he organized all of that. And he ended up getting some publicity coverage in news and TV and radio and that kind of thing. You could give away a wedding all by yourself. Just decide once a year or once every other year you are going to find someone and maybe host a contest and find who can you do a wedding for free. Maybe not actually give them the album, so it's not like a ton of money coming out of your pocket, but actually shoot it for free. That has value to people that you can do for charity. You can donate your profits to something. So maybe 5% of your profits go to World Vision or, I don't know, SPCA, whatever it is that's close to your heart, find something where you can be genuine about this, something that really does mean something to you, and donate it. And there is one person that I know that has done this correctly, and I mentioned to you before about this. This is the Lightroom retouching toolkit, where you can retouch your photos in Lightroom. But this particular company has found a way to give back. What he does is he has everything online based, and he's giving away 5% of profits to Operation Smile so that he can help cleft lip operations get performed on someone who wouldn't be able to afford them. They don't even cost that much. They're like $250 to $300 through the organization that he's going through, Operation Smile. It's one of the reasons why I like talking about that program, not just because I love that Lightroom retouching toolkit and use it all the time, but because I know every time that I talk about it, one or two of you are going to go ahead and grab that program. And I know that if 10 of you do it, or something along those lines, maybe 15 people, then we've collectively saved a smile. And I believe by this point, I think we've helped save 2 or 3 smiles and been able to pay for 2 or 3 cleft lip operations just because of that. And that makes me feel amazing. And if you do something similar, that's going to make your clients feel pretty amazing about what they're doing with you, and they feel like they're doing it with you and making a difference in the world. So moving on to number 17. Number 17, spontaneous promotions. That's just a really fancy way for saying have a sale. So spontaneous promotions are simply have a sale. So you can see my little, I believe this was off an email blast. Yeah, this was off an email blast. It just says 30% off online gallery orders this week only. I believe I sent this out maybe a month before Christmas, something along those lines, probably a little bit earlier so I can include Hanukkah in there too. But have a sale. Great way to boost business and get a direct return on investment on it. Yes, it'll boost your brand, but you're actually getting money off of it. You could have a conditional sale. So what I mean by having a conditional sale means the more that you share the sale with other people, the more money you get off. So for example, if you post this on Twitter, get 5% off your next order. If you post this on Facebook and Twitter, get 10% off your next portrait order. You get the idea. So a conditional sale, where the more they do for you, the more that you do for them. Have a bring a friend sale. So book your senior session right now, or book your family session right now, and bring a friend, and you both get 50% off your order after the session, whatever it is. Some sort of bring a friend sale. It really doesn't actually matter what it is that you're doing. Have a whatever the heck sale that achieves the goal that you want, which is to bring in either maybe new customers, new revenue, boost your brand, social media, whatever it might be. Bring in those repeat customers, whatever it is. Have a sale and have a dual purpose behind it. Number 18. This is actually one of my favorites. Never eat alone. And this is actually a title of yet another one of my book recommendations for you guys. Never eat alone. And I just find this fun. It might be because it's like Italian in me. I'm Italian, and eating is like a social thing. If I had my way, I wouldn't just like go out to eat with my friends, but I'd have them over and we'd all cook together too. It's an Italian thing. It might be a little bit weird, but I just find that meals are a way to genuinely socialize and get to know other people and build relationships. So don't waste those opportunities. You should be eating at least 3 times a day. So you have 3 times a day where you can have this opportunity. I did not eat twice today. I had a little juice on my way here, one of those fresh veggie juices. Those are my thing. Those are my jam. But don't waste the opportunities. Keep your calendar full. Now, when I say this, I mean 2 things. When I say keep your calendar full, I do not mean shove your life with business things and never have time for what's actually important in life, because make no mistake, no one on their dying deathbed said, I wish I spent more time in the office. No one. Everyone says, I wish I spent more time with friends and family. That is what we're doing with this business. I might love marketing. I might give you a billion different ideas that'll suck up every second of your life when it comes to marketing up your business, but that is what is absolutely 100% not actually important when it comes to life. all right? So when you keep your calendar full, you keep your calendar full with meals with friends. You keep your calendar full with having tea with your grandmother who's in a nursing home an hour and a half away. You keep your calendar full with things that actually matter. Yes, business is in there, but make sure that your friends and your family are as well. And schedule it, by the way. I schedule like hangouts with my friends sometimes 2 months in advance. Sometimes you just need to. My thing is if it goes in the calendar, it's actually happening, so put it in the calendar. Your network is your net worth. And Porter Gale, I think, is the most recent person that said this and wrote a book on it. I have not read it, but a lot of people have said this, and the concept is simply the more people you know, the more people you get around and build relationships with, the higher your net worth is going to go, the more successful you're going to be in life. And build and maintain those relationships. I've actually contemplated writing a book on this whole concept of building and maintaining relationships because it can be pretty hard. Especially, again, as photographers, we like to be wallflowers in a lot of ways, or behind the camera, and being out in front of people and socializing is not necessarily our thing. Me personally, I'm more of an introvert myself. And what that means is not necessarily that I don't like talking to people by any means, but it just means that I regain more of my energy within rather than from without. So by nature, I'm a little bit shy. So when it comes to being shy, I have simply found a solid way to just get over it. You just simply act like you're not, and that's it. You might be shy for the rest of your life, but if you just act like you're not, you're good. So just push past that. Never let any fear that you have in life determine anything, really, or hinder your actions. So number 19, customer experience. So if you find ways to better your customer experience, your customers will talk about you and create that word of mouth. That phrase, word of mouth, that we hear so often. Word of mouth is the key. Remember I said 70 to 80% of my business, word of mouth, previous clients. It is really the key to marketing still, even in this technology world. So find ways to better your customer experience with your clients, and you are going to find, 1, more happy clients, and 2, more people walking in your door. One of the ways you can do this is turn products around faster than expected. You tell your clients it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to get them their proofs after the wedding, and you turn them around in 2 to 3, you're going to make them very happy. What is the phrase is under promise, over deliver, right? A million different ways that you can do that. Make sure you're giving amazing products. When my clients get a guest book from their engagement session, for example, I don't tell them that I ordered them this extra boutique bag, this cute little $30 bag that it comes in, and it's just a little something extra for them that's part of the product that they didn't know they were going to get, and it just helps make that product look more amazing. Obviously, the actual product you give them, make sure it's amazing as well, not falling apart, things like that, and they're going to rave about them. I've had my clients take photos of their wedding albums or whatever it was that I sent them and put them on social media. One thing I like doing is giving surprise gifts. So that's actually what both of these are right here. The week or so after they book me for their wedding, I send them that book. It's called 10 Great Dates Before You Say I Do. I like sending that book, 1, because yes, it's going to surprise them, and yes, they'll probably talk about me, but it also helps me show them that I am interested in investing in their actual relationship, and that I'm there for more than just to take their money, see them on their wedding day, and try to get them out the door as fast as possible. The other thing I do, or one of the other things I do down here, that one is luggage tags, and I get these cute little laminated luggage tags from Black River Imaging, and I surprise them with that and a little matching tote bag for their honeymoon about a month before their wedding. And I send them this little note. It's very quick. Again, I'm not a wordy person, so it just says, I can't believe your wedding is only a month away. Here's a little something fun and useful while you pack for your honeymoon. And that's it. And these little surprise gifts, I always get a thank you note after them, and they love it. They make them happy. They make them excited for me, for the photography, for the wedding, and then, hopefully they tell their friends about it too. whatever it is, simply give them something to rave about. Give them something to talk about. There are 100 different ways that you can do this, and find ways that really tout your personality, that really show off who you are as a person and as an individual, because they're going to start appreciating you even more than just your photography. You'll find that when you have clients that like you yourself, not just your photography, they're going to end up liking your photography even more than they originally did. So it's going to help you out when you do things like this for them and enhance their customer experience. And the last thing that I have here is number 20, and it's be remarkable. Marketing won't do very much for you if you're not remarkable. If you're marketing and you're doing the same thing as the person next to you, it's not going to be quite as effective. You might be doing it right, but if it's not different, then it's not going to help. You want to make sure that you be you. You can't just copy what someone else is doing. It's not going to be genuine, it's not going to be original or unique, and it's not going to be you, more importantly. And don't get this wrong. What I really want to say here is the fact that what's remarkable about what we're doing, what you do, is not necessarily your pictures, it's you. You are what is remarkable about your photography. You are remarkable in your business, and you are remarkable to your clients, and you are giving something valuable to your clients that no one else is going to give. What's remarkable about what you're doing is you. I mean, you're someone's hero. Someone looks up to you like they don't look up to anyone else. And you are giving somebody the memories that they're going to have held to maybe carry them through that divorce. You're giving the memories that someone is going to be able to look at and pass down to their grandchildren. And you are giving them the memories to be able to watch their children grow up and to look back and reminisce about that. So somebody is taking what you're doing to heart and absolutely creating so much value in that, and you are what is remarkable. So you live to give memories to other people, and that's pretty special. That is what is very, very special about our jobs, even if, by the way, you're just photographing landscapes. And I don't mean that in like you're just photographing landscapes. I just mean maybe that personal connection is not necessarily there, but what you're doing is you're evoking some sort of emotion, some sort of memory, something out of people that makes you and what you're doing remarkable. So keep that in mind in anything that you're doing, that what you're doing is special to someone, and somebody absolutely loves you and loves your work for it. It means something to people in being that remarkable. You guys have been really fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.